One of the tools that you'll probably want to use as you're doing this interpretation is the arc-scene module, and I'm going to show you just quickly how to start that. I would do it through all programs, ArcGIS, and then there's the arc-scene module, and you see it starts as a separate module. It looks a lot like ArcGIS, has some of the functionality that is in ArcGIS, and then some that's unique to arc-scene because it is 3D modeling environment. And so in this environment, when you go to add data, here's the layer. It's actually located you know, on the desktop, but here's the layer that I wanted to add. This is what I was just looking at, and I'm not going to use pyramids. And so there's the layer. And you know, again, you may want to try a different color palette just to heighten that a bit for your eyes. My eyes like color sometimes like black and white. So here it is, and it looks pretty flat, as you see. But I'm going to take this and I'm going to first thing I'm going to do is in the properties of this layer under base heights, I'm going to set it to be floating on a custom surface, and there's only one surface available here normally. And so when you do that, it usually disappears. And so in your scene layers, which is identical to the data frame properties, this is the scene properties. You go into the scene properties, and under the general tab, vertical exaggeration, you can start off by calculating that from the extent. You can see it's kind of a long decimal there, and when you apply that, you'll see it may appear, and then you may want to use that zoom to layer tool to get it set to the layer that we're looking at so that you can actually see it. And you can see it does have some terrain to it. And then also here, we probably, in the symbology tab of the layer properties here, we probably do want to use a hillshade effect. And so when you do that, you can see it looks a little bit more realistic, certainly more well defined in terms of the terrain. And sometimes we will adjust this sometimes we'll adjust in the scene properties, we'll adjust this vertical exaggeration. I usually like to cut it down a bit because it tends to over exaggerate a bit if you use just the calculated value. So I'm going to about cut this in half. You can see I've selected part of that decimal, and it was 0002 and other numbers, and I'm making it 0001 and other numbers. This will cut it in half. So when I apply that, you can see it sort of settles down a little bit. It's not quite as bumpy as it was before, and this maybe will be a little more useful for my interpretation. So there are some other controls in arc-scene that you may want to familiarize yourself with, and I think this is a useful interpretation tool. You know, as we're doing our work, it's something. It gives you another view of this, you know, this surface that we're trying to make some sense of.